In this video, we will learn how to integrate Angular and JointJS Plus. So to scaffold a project, we will use the Angular CLI. But if you would like to use a different tool, it's possible to do so. The process will be much the same. So for us, we will use ng new Angular JointJS Plus, which is the name of our project directory. We will press enter and we will see a prompt of a few questions. So first it says, would you like to add Angular routing? So we will just say yes. Then we will just choose native CSS, and this will create our Angular project. Afterwards, we can change into this directory and then open it in our code editor. When you open your code editor, you should be presented with some similar file system. So next we want to copy the JointJS Plus installable package to the root of our project. Now we want to add JointJS Plus to our dependencies. So if you open package.json, you can copy the dependency here. On the left, we have the name of our package, and on the right, we have the file to the installable package, which in our case is the root of our project. So on the left, we can call this package anything we want. So if we want to call it JointJS Plus, it's possible to do so too. There are a few more items to configure. So as we are using class components, we will add one more property to our tsconfig. So we will add strict property initialization as false. We also want to add JointJS Plus to our files. So in tsconfig app.json, under files, we will add node modules and the index.tss file from JointJS Plus. And in this path, again, you can use whatever name you use for the package name. So in our case, it's JointJS Plus. Now it's possible for us to run npm install. Now that that has finished, we can look at our package.json and we can see that the script to start the application is start. So we will run npm run start2. So here we can see that the application is now running successfully on localhost. So we will open this URL. And this is the basic Angular application running in the browser. So before we get started with the JointJS Plus application, it's time to clean up the application boilerplate a little bit. So first we will open app.component.html. So we will select everything and remove it. Then we will simply place a div element with the class of canvas, and also a template reference, which will allow us access on DOM element via script tag 2. Next, we will open app.component.ts and remove this title property here. Next, we can add some basic styling to our application. So if we open styles.css, we can add some basic styling here. So first we import the JointJS Plus CSS. So again, here you can use whatever name you use for the name of the package earlier. So again, we will use JointJS-Plus. Next, we have a body tag, which has a width and height of 100 in viewport units and also 0 margin. Then we have a canvas class, which has a width and height of 100%. And lastly, we have a simple border on the JointJS paper. Now that the basic setup is complete, we can move to app.component.ts, and then we can import the relevant JointJS code that we need. And again, we can change the name of the import to whatever we call the package earlier. And now it's time to import some Angular related items. So we will import element, ref, and viewchild. And we will also import the interface onInit. We should also implement this interface in our class. So we will say export class app component implements onInit. After that, we can add an Angular lifecycle method ng onInit. We will also create some properties on the class utilizing the imports from earlier. So we will use a viewchild decorator with a canvas property, and also create properties for our graph, paper, and scroller too. So inside our ng on init Angular lifecycle method, we can now create some JointJS components that you might be familiar with already. So first we create a graph, then we create a JointJS paper with some typical properties, and lastly an instance of the JointJS paper scroller. There are a few more items we will place in this lifecycle method. So first we will render the paper scroller, then we will create an instance of a standard rectangle in JointJS. This has some typical options. And then lastly, we will add this rectangle to our graph. Now we would like to take advantage of one more lifecycle method in Angular. So first we need to import the interface after view init. Then we will add the lifecycle method after the first lifecycle method. So this will be ng after view init. So inside this Angular lifecycle method, we are able to use our refs to work with DOM elements. Also, don't forget to implement the interface we imported earlier. So this should be added to your class here too. Now inside of our last lifecycle function, we can add a few more lines of code. So we will access our scroller, paper, and canvas variables. The canvas is the DOM element we created earlier. So we will append the paper scroller to this canvas element. We will center the paper scroller, and also we will unfreeze the paper because we are using async mode too. So if we save our file, you should see the application function in the browser like so. So that's all it takes to integrate Angular with JointJS+. If you would like to see the source code of this application, you can visit our website jointjs.com, and you will be able to see the relevant Angular tutorial there. So thanks for watching.